to talk more about the impact of the civil war, we can cross now to Beirut and speak with Dima de Clerck, a history professor at the American University of Beirut. Dima, thank you so much for joining the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I want to begin by asking, as we saw in that report, the Civil War exposed a sectarian divide in the country. To what extent do those divides still exist today?
Well, the divides have persisted since the war 50 years ago, but the protagonist or the actors have changed, and the divide today is very insidious. I mean, it's between those that really think that the resistance is the solution to achieve sovereignty and achieve a sort of independence and not allow any Israeli aggression, etc., from the south, and those that think that resistance is not the answer to this problem, and there are definitely some diplomatic solutions and peaceful solutions to get the international community to resolve the problems for Lebanon. But definitely those would like to have a strong Lebanese army to be able to impose its presence and its its force in front of the eventual Israeli aggressions. And this is not really obvious because the Lebanese army still lacks the weaponry, the necessary weaponry to do that.
Now, you brought up the clashes there with Israel. I wanted to ask, in this period of reflection, where does Hezbollah currently fit in? And have we seen support for the group declining with these recent clashes?
Well, here we're not talking about the civil war, about the Lebanese war. Today, Hezbollah's role during the war came out of the Israeli invasion of 1982, and in 1984 the group was officialized, and its duty or its objective was to act as a resistance group in front of the Israeli aggression or the Israeli invasion of Lebanon. And this was not the only resistance group. We had the Lebanese Communist Party. We had other groups that were in this resistance, but with time they were a little bit marginalized and replaced by the Islamic Revolution Party, Hezbollah. Today, this war is still ongoing. So the actors have changed between Israel and the PLO during the war, between Israel and the leftist parties, and today between Israel and Hezbollah. But the same idea of resistance is also here, and this is what is really fracturing the Lebanese population between those who would like to be neutral and completely not involved in all the regional conflicts and problems, and those that really think that resistance is the only solution to the problem.
Now, I also saw a recent poll that was conducted by Anahar newspaper and International Information. They found that just over half of the respondents feared another civil war in Lebanon, while 63% believed establishing a secular civil state by abolishing the sectarian political system was the best path forward for the country. So in the wake of the Civil War and the current situation now, what does this mean for the government? And is it time to try a new model of governing?
Oh, definitely, it is the time for, and Lebanese have hope that this will eventually, the current government will definitely instill some kind of a new way of governing and a new way of, strengthening the state, etc., and having the monopole of violence within the army, within the state. But to come back a little bit to the war, the idea of civil war, the idea of civil war has integrated, or the syntagm of civil war has integrated all the ramifications of the regional and international war, in a certain country. So it is accepted by by scholars, definitely, but it is very difficult to be accepted by the layman, by the population, that find that the civil war of Lebanon was not only a civil war. Of course, it was a civil war, but it was not only a civil war. Lebanese acted as proxies to regional and international powers for their interests, etc. And they integrated, or they implicated these powers as well, to be able to change the equation within Lebanon, facing their rivals, their internal rivals. So this is the real play, or this is the real issue of civil war, and this issue is still ongoing. It's the same idea. It's the same idea that people are not united in Lebanon, and they tend to implicate others into their dissensions or into their fractures, and eventually use them to be able to get to power, or to be able to change the equation to their interests. And powers definitely have an interest in definitely getting involved in a civil war, because a country in civil war is a very fertile land to be able to have things settled, for settlements. Everybody settles. Countries that are in cold wars, etc., they all settle their problems in a place where you have a fertile land for dissensions, for problems, and that is at war.
Now, I also saw that there are some groups of former soldiers who had fought in the Civil War who were talking to students about the conflict and what happened. I wondered what other sort of reconciliation efforts have been made to address the scars of the war in Lebanon.
Well, to address the memory, there were no official, we didn't go through the transitional justice, through TRCs like they did in South Africa, or even in Morocco. We had these in Ecuador as well. We didn't have this kind of solution, or after war settlement. We had a reconciliation between in villages where there were some massacres between the different factions in a certain region, which is southern Mount Lebanon, between the Druze and the Christian militias that had ended in massacres. This is the only place we had an official reconciliation, but it was more an economical settlement or reconciliation than through popular and grassroots reconciliation. So the civil society has done a lot of effort in trying to preserve the memory of the war, but until today, things are starting to change, and the Ministry of Education is really thinking of seriously integrating the Lebanese Civil War into the scholar manuals.
Dima, thank you so much for that analysis and for joining us on the program. That's Dima de Clerck, a history professor at the American University of Beirut.